Yo, what up, dude bros? Decided to change it up a little bit today on that startup, but today I'm gonna be reviewing a blaster that I have been excited for and actually wanted to review. It's the Adventure Force Spectrum. Now, this blaster is made by Adventure Force, so it's not Dart Zones. It's made by Adventure Force. Has a stryfe being finally dethroned. We're not sure on that yet, but it comes with a 10-round magazine. This is pretty much the Adventure Force stryfe, as people would call it nowadays. Seems like it comes with a adjustable stock and a very battery-saving rev trigger is what they're calling it. I'm not really sure what that advertises, but it does come with a removable scope, which looks pretty cool. Comes with the adjustable tactical grip, which looks pretty much useless. So yeah, overall, without further ado, comes with the best darts too, the waffle heads, but I'm gonna stop rambling too much and let's get this thing out of its prison cell and see what comes inside the box. So yeah, magic time. All right, so what comes inside the packages? The blaster already fully assembled, 10 waffle head darts, and the instruction manual. So first of all, this blaster requires 6 AA batteries, which is present on the left-hand side. Take a single Phillips head screwdriver and unscrew the screw and install your 6 AA's. Just very simple, very easy. Lift this cover up, and battery tray is actually pretty similar to the Ultra 2, which is not always been my favorite, but I don't like battery doors like this. I hope they would change that soon, because I don't like going under here and just putting the batteries in. It's just it's easy to put in, but it's hard to take out. So that's what she said. Pause, but okay. Once you put your 6 AA's in, make sure it's revving, obviously. Sounds pretty promising for 100 FPS out of the box. But we're gonna see if it performs 100 FPS out of the box, so yeah. All right, I'm sure that thing is tight. There you go. And with the batteries installed, it doesn't make the blaster as much heavier. So starting up at the front, the blaster does not have a barrel attachment because obviously, well, if it doesn't have a barrel attachment, it's called a barrel lug. So that's the good thing to note. And right under here is the foregrip. So right now it's in the up position, but you press this button, you can fold it down. So I think that's pretty good. The grip does wiggle a little bit, but it's not gonna like get off of its place. So I think that is very, very cool. And to fold it back up, you can just hit that button and you fold it back up. And you can actually take this out too. So you press this in, then you take it out, which is pretty awesome. And it exposes a Adventure Force tactical rail, so if you want to put on a different grip, you totally can. But for right now, I'm just keep mine on, even though it's absolutely not necessary, but it looks cool with it on. So yeah, up top is the scope, and the scope is also removable, and the scope has a little reticle in there, so which I think the scope looks absolutely awesome on this blaster. Looks pretty cool. Slides on pretty simple, and up top there's obviously a Adventure Force tactical rail up there. So if you want to put on a different scope, you totally can. So let me adjust this back. There you go. It looks, wow, this thing looks absolutely awesome. Let me adjust it a little bit more up. Perfect. So overall, wow. And to the stock is adjustable with pressing this little lever in here. You can adjust it out fully, or you can take it off fully. And honestly, if it's fully extended like this, it's still a very short stock actually, but it's perfect to look down the scope. But actually, by the way, this blaster is compatible with the Villainator stock. So if you take the stock off completely, you can actually take the stock off of the Villainator if you guys own one, which I do, but I don't have one on me right now. But you can actually get the stock on that and put it on here, so it'll be way better than the stock that comes with the Spectrum. So that's pretty cool. And I got the red version. There's actually 3 versions: the green, the red, and the blue. They're pretty much the same thing, but the blue one is probably the rarest because it's only exclusive to UK. So I think that's pretty cool. And these two motors in here are actually exposed a little bit, so you can actually see them pretty well. I'm not always a fan of that. I know it lets out more air when it's like heating up or it gets warm, but to be honest, like doing that, like dust can get in there over time and it can rust or out the motors or the flywheels. I don't know why I keep calling it motors, but it's called a flywheel. But yeah, overall, I don't like that design, so I'm gonna have to zonk that. And I'm gonna have to zonk this rev trigger too, because it's way too big for, you know, I just don't like this two finger rev trigger. I'm not always a fan of that. But the grip is totally amazing. I mean, I do like the grip a lot. So the grip is totally awesome. And I just don't like this rev trigger. It's too big for one finger. And for two, I mean, I just don't like the way it is designed like that. I mean, I'd rather have a rev trigger that's only for one finger instead of two. They did the same thing in the Thunderbolt too, which is, you know, which is the newer version of the Spectrum. So president only on the left-hand side, not on the right-hand side, is the access door. So you pull that out and you can clear out any jams or malfunctions that you guys would like. And you can actually, you can't rev the blaster with the access door open, but you can rev the access door. I mean, not rev the access door, rev the blaster with the magazine detached from the blaster, which I think is pretty cool. And the sound of this blaster, pretty quiet. And speaking of magazine, the magazine that comes with it holds 10 darts. And overall, the quality is, I mean, not the greatest, but it's not the worst. So I've seen worser. But actually, to note, if you're gonna buy this blaster, make sure you use the magazine without the little lumps. If you guys use one of like the Nerf 18 round stick mags, those things have a little lump. So when you push this magazine release forward, it actually bumps into the magazine, the little lump thing, and it makes it difficult. You can't pull out the magazine as quickly. So if you're using those type of mag, when you hit the mag release, make sure you push your magazine forward more and then hit the magazine release and your mag will come out just fine. But this magazine port is a little bit weird. I mean, I get why they understand it like that, but it gives me a harder time to reload the mag compared to a regular magazine port. And the mag does drop free actually, which I think is pretty cool. But you know, this magwell is not very good. So yeah, let me just test the trigger pull. I heard some people say a lot that the trigger pull in the Spectrum is amazing. So I'm about to test that right now. Wow, that is smoother than I expected. I mean, I can't wait to test it out and see how the darts get pushed into the flywheel. I think it will be totally awesome. So yeah, overall, I think this is a fake battery door right here because it's the same model as on the actual battery door. Spectrum is written on both sides, also Avenger Force, but not colored. But if they're black like that, I mean, they're still pretty visible. So yeah, overall, looks pretty cool. And the foregrip, I like how it's folded up. So if you want to keep it down, you can keep it down. But if you want to keep it up, you can just press the button on the left-hand side, just fold it up, which is pretty cool. And it locks in pretty good, so it's not going to like fall down in the up position. So yeah. So overall, let's get to the firing test and see how the darts on Spectrum perform. So let's get to the firing test. All right, now we're at the firing test. Loaded up with 10 of the waffle head darts. So it works. Fold this grip down for purpose. Oh my God. That trigger pull. And tactical finger bang for reasons. Oh wow. Overall, that trigger is smooth. So overall, I don't have an extra mag with me right now, so I can't test the this magazine release. So I'm gonna show you guys what it is in real life. But yeah, overall firing test is solid. Okay, so as you guys can see, that was the firing test of the Dart Zone Spectrum. So overall firing test, good as advertised. The trigger pull is actually the same smoothness as a Dart Zone Thunderbolt, but the Thunderbolt is obviously, you know, better than the Spectrum. But I can't guarantee that yet until I compare these two, so stay tuned for that comparison. But overall, the Dark Zone Spectrum, it performs as advertised, and stock, it performs over 100 FPS right out of the box, which is totally amazing. I mean, I just love the Spectrum. I mean, now with the Thunderbolt being released, it just makes the Spectrum kind of outdated, but it doesn't mean the Spectrum is a terrible blaster. It still holds a good place in our hobby, and you know, I still do like the Spectrum. You have a good foregrip. Well, in my opinion, it's not too great, but I like that it's there, so you know, it makes mobility a lot more easier. The scope is totally awesome, and you know, the grip can get out of your way, or you can take it off completely if you guys don't like it. And as I was telling you guys about the stock earlier, I mean, this stock just kind of sucks, so I'm gonna get rid of that. And if you guys have a Billionator, boom, slap that stock on, and it makes the mobility even better. So overall, it is very comfortable with this stock. It's a little bit longer, and this stock is actually in full collapse form, or in full collapse out form. It's still shorter than a Retaliator stock, which is kind of crazy, but you know, they both have the same release, which I think is pretty cool. But for right now, I'm gonna keep this one on, but sometime I would like to use the Billionator stock. And they're calling this the Sports Stock 350, and they're naming this stock XL5 6. So I'm guessing Adventure Force is naming their stock. Pretty cool, but you know, it's a good thing to point out. So yeah, overall, the Spectrum is still one of my favorites, but there are some things that I want to complain, aka zonk. So this mag release, I mean, it's good with normal mags that don't have that lump, but if you guys use magazine like Nerf magazine, especially the 18 round stick mags, which they have a little lump, you will have a hard time reloading those. So if you buy this blaster, you're pretty limited to what kind of magazine you would use. I mean, it will still fit, it'll work fine, but that's just a good thing to mention, because if you're in a Nerf war, you have to reload quickly. So if it has a little lump there, it will slow you down in reloads, which is, you know, pretty, kind of not a fan of that. And this magwell, I don't like the way it's designed like this, because it makes reloading a little bit difficult, because it's not straight like in a regular Nerf magwell. It's like it curves here, goes straight, and it curves up like that. So it makes reloading a little bit more weird and a little bit more getting used to. So, And to the rev trigger, I don't like this rev trigger. I don't like these 2-finger rev trigger, just like in the Thunderbolt. I just don't like them. They're too big for one finger, and it feels weird with 2 fingers. I mean, you know, it makes it easier to rev the blaster, and instead of like a small rev trigger like in a stryfe or something like that, but it is not comfortable at all. I mean, overall, after those things, the Spectrum still holds a good place in our hearts and in the hobby too. So I still love the Spectrum either way, especially in this red color. I think it looks way better than the green version. Even though the green version is the OG, but the red one looks pretty cool. So yeah, overall, that's all about my review of the Adventure Force. I'm starting to get confused now, because Walmart usually slaps Adventure Force brands on Dark Zone blasters, so getting confusing. It actually says TM, trademark, so official by Adventure Force. And they'll let you know that on everywhere in the blaster, so you won't be confusing on what kind of blaster you guys got. I mean, you got Spectrum named like on both sides, so you can't be confused when you look at a Spectrum. Well, even though if it's a different color, it's still a Spectrum with the scope, the grip, and the short stock and everything. So overall, that's all about my review of the Dark Zone Spectrum. I will throw up the link in the description down below if you guys are interested in purchasing a Spectrum for yourself, which I highly would recommend. Pretty good. 100 FPS out of the box, totally destroys your stryfe out of the water. But if you're gonna mod the stryfe with like IMRs or something like that, a bigger flywheel, you know, and then it will totally outperform this thing. But right out of the box, I mean, over 100 FPS, if you're not into modding, this thing would beat the stryfe. But not in every case. The stryfe is still better with IMRs and all that stuff, like I said, lipos and all that. So yeah, overall, that's all about my review of the Dark Zone Spectrum. Like I said again, link in the description down below if you're interested. They're back in Walmart now, so go get them while they last. But yeah, overall, that's all about this video. I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for watching this video. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next adventure. Peace.